Good afternoon everyone and welcome to today's webinar. For those who don't recognise my voice, it's Mike that's doing today's webinar, and it hopefully should be a relatively short one. It's more of a descriptive webinar today than sort of a practical webinar. We'll be running through sort of different processes. It's more of an explanation of what basically the product statuses mean and the product type. So within Prima, within your stock products, there are a number of different types of product, and depending on what you select within here will vary on how that reacts and behaves within the system. So when you're placing these onto orders, etc., depending on the type, it will work in various ways. So we'll just be going through a bit of a description on how each one works, giving you a little bit of an insight and giving you a bit more of an understanding on the product type. So starting off, I've just opened up a stock product here, a random stock product. So this can be changed on existing stock products at the very top here, and it can also be selected when you're creating new codes from the new record button as well. So there's a number of different ways that you can select this. So the first and the most common type is a limited product. So what a limited product is, this is the standard for the majority of your items in the system. I like to remember that it's a limited product because you have limited stock available. So if you don't have any stock in your system, it will go into your purchasing as normal and you will purchase it. So it's just a standard product. It doesn't automatically allocate. If you don't have stock, you need to purchase it. So for all of your normal products where you need to go and buy it from a supplier, this is basically what you'll have them set up as, and that's just a limited product. So that's the most standard option, and for say the majority of your items, that will be the one that you select, which is just limited at the top here. So next to that, the first one we do have here is a consumable product. So a consumable product works in a different way to a limited product, in the sense that this will never ever go into your purchasing. It'll never go into your requirements. It'll never require you to raise a purchase order for a consumable item. And the reason for that is because if an item is set to be a consumable, you're basically telling the system that it's something that you stock, but you don't want to keep a track of that stock. You will always have like stock of it, and it'll just keep on coming off and off and off. So what will happen is, if an item is a consumable product, you add it to a sales order, the system will recognise that it's a consumable product. It will automatically double the amount, basically double the quantity that you've requested, and put that into stock. So if you put an item on for a quantity of 1, once you authorise the order, the system will recognise that. It'll put 2 into stock, so that item will always automatically allocate. And that can be used for things like flyers, catalogues, something that you're going to be sending out with every order, but not necessarily something that you want to keep sort of minute by minute stock on. So you don't want to keep too much of an accurate figure of stock, because you don't need to be going purchasing it. It's just something that you've got a stack printed of, and you're going to be sending out with every order. So you don't want to worry about having to purchase it. You don't want to worry about anything else. It'll just automatically allocate, and then when the rest of the goods are put onto a dispatch note, it'll be there with it as well. So that's something that you need to be wary of. If you're going to be using a consumable item, it will always automatically allocate, and it'll always automatically double the amount that you've got in stock. So it's worthwhile keeping an eye on, because if you do have any consumable items set up, then the stock figure that you see within any of your stock reports may not be accurate, but it's something to be aware of, and is useful in the system. So to select the consumable, you would just tick it at the top, it would change to a consumable, and then you get yourself a consumable product. Next to that, we do have the option for a non-stock product. So these are the more common types that you'll have, which are your consumable, your limited, and then your non-stock. So this works a little bit like a consumable item, but whereas a consumable automatically allocates and doesn't go into your purchasing, a non-stock item skips both. So basically it won't automatically allocate, it won't go into the dispatch note, it will go through sort of purchasing, because it may be that, for example, a software license that you sell, that can be a non-stock product because there isn't any actual physical handover of stock. It could be that you just need to send the customer a code. It could be a service that you offer, but you may sort of rent that service from another company, so you need to raise a purchase order for them. This won't raise any dispatch notes. It's just a way that you can keep a track of like a service or a software within the system. So it's useful. You can put it onto a sales order, it'll go onto a dispatch note, it'll go through purchasing, etc. And then it'll be sort of available for invoicing. So it's there's no sort of transaction of stock with that. It's completely separate. The final two options that you do have for product types, and the final three, but the two that work very closely are full and component products. So you may use these in the system already, you may not, but what you would have is basically, if we're going to use a full product, so this is what we'll go through next, which is a full product. What a full product is, it can be used in a number of different ways. So one way that you can use a full product is for machines. So if you sell printers, you sell machines, you sell laminating machines, and you get warranty based off of these machines from your supplier. Now, with a full product, what will happen is for every item that you purchase and put into stock, it will create its own individual batch. So within balances for a full product, if I just mark this item to be a full product and go into balances, if you purchase 10 of these items, whereas for a limited product you would just have one individual batch like this, with a full product, once you purchase these items and book them in, you will have 10 individual batches rather than one batch of stock that shows a quantity of 10 like you see here. So if I was to purchase another batch of stock for this item, it would split the items down individually, because for machines specifically, each machine would have its own serial number. So what you would be able to do is, once you've put them goods in, come into here and be able to put the manufacturer's serial number into here. So then you can trace that item has gone to such and such a customer. With that item we have this warranty, because we can track it through this serial number against this stock, rather than having just a generic batch for your stationary items. So that's one way that your full products are used. So it can be used for machines. And then the other way that it can be used, which is hand in hand with components, that's a different product type, is you can create kitting and build lists. So you could treat a table as a full product. Now, to create that table, you will have to buy a component, which could be a tabletop and then legs for the table. So you would have to set up two component items, which you can see here, for the tabletop and then for the table legs. Put both of them items together, you will get your full product being a table. So using the full products and components, you can basically build like a bulk of items or a bundle of items by purchasing other components. But when you put it on the sales order to your customer, you just enter the specific full product code, rather than having to remember, right, for this product it's made of this, and this, I need to enter 5 different codes onto the order. You will just enter the one full product code onto the order. The system will recognise the components, which you can easily put in from this option here, where you can create a build list. So you can select what you want. So whether it's a kitting, which is a list of items, or it's something you need to build as such, you can select the option, and basically once you're in here, you can put your component items in. So you would be able to go into other items, select them as components, and they will be options to add into a build list. So for your full products, they will be used as as like a single source, and then when it comes into your requirements, you can easily purchase the other 5 items to make your one full product. The final option that we do have is Discontinued, which is nice and simple. It speaks for itself. If you have an item that is no longer available, you can just mark it as discontinued. It won't be available on your web store. It won't be available to put onto an order, and it's omitted from the system as such. There will still be a record within the status at the very top here in the background, so you can still pull a discontinued product back, to be in a limited product, to be in whatever it is that you want. If it's something that you do end up getting available again, it doesn't delete it from the system forever, but it's just something that hides it from view and hides it from being available for your customers. So as a recap, limited is your most common items, which will be available in your requirements, available to purchase. They'll be your majority of your items. Your consumable items will always automatically allocate. Your non-stock, there isn't any transfer of stock. Your full and component items work in a roundabout way together and allow you to build a specific bundle, or create a trace of serial numbers and create a trace of where that stock has gone, whether depending on how you're using it. And then discontinue is if an item is no longer available as well. If you do have any questions, I will be hanging around for a little bit on live chat as well. But apart from that, thank you for your time. We'll see you next week.